Ho ho ho, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Dev. And more importantly, welcome to the annual Let's Dev Holiday Special. Now, in case you're new or you just need a refresher, allow me to go over what the Holiday Special is all about. In the spirit of the Game Jam, every year I give myself an accumulated 24 hours to build a game from scratch. The game is holiday themed and all assets and code must be completed within the time frame. And assuming I accomplish my goal, I put that game online for you lovely folk to enjoy as a little thank you gift for supporting the channel. So with that said, let's talk about this year's project. I thought this year we'd take a break from the more hectic arcadey games that we've done and instead try something a little more chill. Imagine, if you will, working at Santa's workshop as one of his many elves. But instead of working on constructing the toys themselves, your job is to prep them for delivery. Sounds easy, so I thought I'd up the ante a bit. What if you worked for not one, but multiple incompetent and unreliable bosses who make your simple job unnecessarily difficult? This concept was partly inspired by real life, but the gameplay itself was inspired by the game Fingered by Edmund McMillan, creator of Super Meat Boy and The Binding of Isaac. Now in Fingered, players are given a short list of descriptions. They must then use those descriptions to decide which of the people in a police lineup is guilty. And as the game progresses, the descriptions get less and less reliable. So we're gonna do something similar, but instead of criminals, we'll be doing it with toys. So the plan is to build a game based around picking the right toy based on a list of descriptions. This will require us to create a type of logic to choose the toys and their corresponding descriptions. We'll also have to draw said toys and then meld the two systems into an interactive experience similar to Fingered. So that's our plan, let's get to the coding. Getting started was rough, believe it or not. I needed to create a system that would pull information from a master list that included all our information, with the caveat being that information couldn't repeat itself. For example, we couldn't have 2 or more listed items detailing color. It would be redundant. I spent a lot of time trying to build something with arrays. I attempted a lock system that would check for open listings, then apply a detail, and then quote-unquote lock that list position. I spent a good hour on this, but the same roadblock kept coming up, and that was comparing values. While I could set all the values I wanted, comparing values using simple arrays just didn't work, and after an hour of getting nowhere, I had to reassess my approach. After some brainstorming, I remembered I've dealt with this exact issue before, back when I learned about data structures in order to build an inventory system. And so I applied the same thinking from that series here. I would create a grid of data that would simply hold a list position and its description ID. Then, using a simple loop, I checked if a listing was quote-unquote locked or not. If the listing wasn't locked, I would pull a random description ID and check the grid for the same ID. If the description wasn't already locked in, then that description got locked into that list position. In other words, the code would scan our list for anything without a description. It would then choose a description from the pool of available descriptions, and if the description wasn't already in use, that description was then added to the list. Make sense? Hope so, because we still have a lot left to do. With the descriptions added, we had to now add the difficult part: unreliable descriptions. This is actually an early version of what I called the quote-unquote deception system. The final version works a little differently. The way that the deception system works is as the player continues to guess correctly, the chance for deceptive descriptions rises. This continues until basically every description a player can obtain is likely to be deceptive. And to even get that far would be pretty impressive. So with deception added, I could then focus on adding more toys to the list, and some flavor text to accompany descriptions. And nothing too special to spotlight here. I then placed a lot of this information into scripts, not only to better organize our code, but as I learned later, scripts are really useful. So now that we've got our descriptions in place, we have to start thinking about the toy display system. Now, similar to Fingered, we're going to have a lineup of toys to choose from, which will obviously include our selected toy. I decided to use a similar logic as descriptions. I set up a data grid for the toy display and had the toys pulled from a master list of toys. I'd placed the selected toy in a random spot on the display list, and then populated the remaining spots with other toys. And thanks to the logic system, the generated toys don't repeat themselves and also aren't the selected toy. And so there we had it, a logical toy display system. So to summarize, we have built two systems that together choose a toy, details for said toy, and then chooses for other toys. And none of that information is ever repeated. That is, unless our deceptive system kicks in and throws all those details for a nice little loop. It may not seem like much, but getting this far took almost 3 hours of trial and error. It was a heck of a first step in our journey, and we're finally ready to move on to the next. But that'll have to wait until the next episode of the Let's Have Holiday Special, where we'll take a break from all this complicated code and look at the art for our little game. So remember that if you like this video or enjoy Let's Dev in general, be sure to hit that like button. If you aren't already subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. And as always, be sure to leave your thoughts on our progress in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time!